Welcome back to the Funding Table, guys. We have such a great episode ready for you. If you live here in Laredo, Texas, I know that you've seen the controversies about the Flock surveillance systems in Laredo. There's now over 90,000 cameras nationwide. They're being pushed right now as an anti-theft tool, criminal prevention system, and a public safety investment. Here in the city of Laredo, we were told that taxpayer funds weren't being used to fund this project. We later found out that that wasn't true. We were told that no other agencies have access to the data that's collected from the Flock surveillance cameras. We later found out that that also wasn't true. We were told that these are only license plate readers. They're not cameras. They can't see exactly who you are. They don't have facial recognition. But on June 15th, when we went to the city council, we actually saw footage of a Flock Condor camera. And so not only do they have license plate readers, but they also have actual cameras that are surveilling the areas of Laredo.
That's right.
So the thing is, if we're being misinformed about the type of systems that are being used, who has access to this, the basic fundamentals of these Flock cameras, what else are we being misinformed about?
What more aren't we being told?
You see, the thing about Flock is that you open the floodgates for bad actors to take advantage of this system. Because believe it or not, these Flock cameras are pretty impressive. Like, they can capture you. They have facial recognition embedded into them. We've done a lot of research. If you want to know more about the Flock cameras, who voted them in, how they came about here in Laredo, Texas, with actual evidence, I have little links there. You can look at our previous video about Flock cameras. And this is specifically to Laredo. I have the links there for you to actually see the evidence of who funded them, how it came to be here in Laredo. So be sure to check that one out.
I think that there are some dangers to having information aggregated and centralized in one database. It opens up the door for, bad actors, like you said, to use that data against you. Mm-hmm. And it's so often that, I get those emails that says, when monitoring my credit, with my credit card companies are monitoring my credit, and it says, your information, was found on
there was a breach.
Yeah, there's a breach of security. Your information was exposed. Things like that. It happens so often. And so, I'd have to ask myself, what truly am I not thinking about, or what am I thinking about that's making me want to go down this course of action of centralizing all of this information for one private company to have, and then for the freedom to do with it as they wish. They may say one thing, but I think we even have evidences and proof of Flock employees already selling information or giving out information, or accessing the cameras locally to spy on people and see citizens and check out the parks and
gymnastics.
Yeah.
Actually, the kids in schools, Flock employees have already been caught looking at our city cameras. And I'm talking specifically the city cameras, not even Flock cameras. These are, they basically cities have signed over the rights to their local cameras to be able to use Flock surveillance systems. So it's pretty interesting.
I honestly think that the people who are for this kind of thing don't really think long term of the ramifications of where it could go.
Yeah.
We've seen it so many times that something that's introduced in the guise of security turns into control.
Yeah.
And if you're already not happy with how politicians, with how the powers that be, if you're not happy with how they wield their power, why give more ammunition to them to later use against you? And not only them, not only elected representatives, but in this case now even a third party. And you're giving them the data, and this is different than agreeing to the terms and conditions of your iPhone. This is different than that.
100%.
This is not agreed upon. This is not consented. And I don't know. I have a real problem with that.
Yeah, I do too. And it's crazy because you would think that they have your best interests, right? Yeah. You would think that, but that's kind of a naive perspective.
Yeah.
That's not the world we live in. I think if I was living in a bubble, and I think if I was truly naive, I would be like, you know what? maybe the government's just trying to help us. Maybe they really want what's best for us. But that's just not the case.
And, from what I've been seeing, I see that most people locally are against the flock systems.
Yes.
I see that completely. And there are some that are for it. But what I tend to see is the people that are more for it are a little bit older in age.
Yeah.
And that generation grew up with the mindset that you can believe what the news says to you. You can believe what the authorities say to you. You can trust that, MSNBC or CNN is giving you the correct and accurate information. So they already have a preconceived notion that's been hardwired in them from the time they were young to just believe what the authorities and what the news tells you. And so I see that I tend to see it's a little bit more of the older people that seem to be okay with it. They're also the least likely to deal with the long-term ramifications of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're already, advancing in age. I don't know, just a little thing that I'm paying attention to. And also the name of the company itself, Flock.
Yeah.
I mean, they're calling people herd animals.
Yes.
It exposes the intentions of the creator of this technology or the CEO of this company, or it exposes how they view people. It exposes their intentions for people. It says that you're an animal that needs to be herded.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is doing. It's tracking your every whereabouts. It wants to know your boundaries from here to here.
Yeah.
And pretty soon as the system beefs up more and more, it'll be nationwide. And
it already is nationwide.
more than nationwide. It'll be on every street corner. And then that is, so to speak, that is the playpen. That is the fencing for the herd not to exit from. You are now, that can easily turn into, you're not required to remain within these borderlines and you can't exceed this. Why? Because we can't keep track of you. Why? Because it's for your safety. We don't know what's out there. And it's just, you could quickly see how this could go downhill.
Yes. And right now in Laredo, there's over 100 cameras already here, over 100 flock surveillance systems here in Laredo. And I know from the first meeting in January, when they passed the multi-million-dollar surveillance rollout for Flock, they wanted to add more cameras than what's already out here in Laredo. And so I could see what you're saying. They want more cameras.
Yeah.
They want more of these flock surveillance systems to keep track of the citizens.
And more than just even locally, like nationally.
Yeah, well, it is nationwide.
Yeah.
And what Flock does is they track your movements and they're actually building a profile on you. So if you were targeted by somebody, right? Let's say somebody's targeting you. These systems are relatively easy to gain access to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I would just Google, do your own research. It doesn't take much to just ask Google a few questions, or even ChatGPT if you use ChatGPT or Claude, whatever you use. It's not hard to gain information about these flock surveillance systems.
Yeah, and there's already a plethora of advancements in the same industry building on top of this concept of the automated license plate readers, the facial recognition. There's now companies that are aggregating this information more and more because the information is becoming more and more centralized.
I think there's even single trace out there as well that's already like getting your facial recognition and getting all of your...
they're selling it to companies so that your profile can be a lot more easier to advertise to, easier to keep insight on, control pricing in certain markets. So like you could already see, not even just from Flock, but from the plethora of increasing advancements in the industry and the advancements of facial recognition and information intelligence gathering, you could see where it's going and how it's becoming corporatized and how it's being used to benefit the technocracy. It's being used to benefit those that are running Silicon Valley. They want all your information easily accessible for them so they could better advertise to you, so they could track you, so they could know what political parties you're leaning towards. They want this information so that it could be used for them and against you. And if people can't see that, then you really got to do a bit of research into the nuance of things and understand that it's not just
Yeah.
for our security.
Yeah, no, and I see why people are thinking that it's for their security
Yeah.
because it's being pushed out that way. I mean, Flock right now is selling a service, right? At least for the city of Laredo, it's over $1 million in subscription fees per year to get this, right?
And how much of that for the next preceding years is going to be paid by taxpayer dollars? You're paying to give them your information.
Yes.
And it may prevent what? 2, 3, 4 crimes a year with this tech, major crimes. Like, that's something that the police force themselves can do.
I know right now that Flock is actually selling the data that they're collecting for $1 billion a year. Like, that is a lot of money. Like, your data is so important for these Flock surveillance systems. Like, they're making a lot of money off of tracking you. And so they do pose a big threat, and a lot of people are opposed to this surveillance system because it's a violation of our privacy.
And it's even wrongfully charging and criminalizing people because it's making mistakes. It's
Right.
It's changing the concept of innocent till proven guilty to now being guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
And that's a really important distinction. I think that's a really important note that the public needs to think about is you are now guilty until proven innocent because these systems
Are saying
already
we
have
saw
decided
you. Yeah.
that you were guilty.
Yeah.
And there's many cases where errors have been made. People have been doing jail time. I mean, wasn't there a couple examples?
Yes, on the last speech that I gave, there was a woman that it was actually a grandmother that got jailed for a few months. And they were like, oh, by the way, it was wrong facial recognition. But she was jailed for a few months. This is an older lady that got put into jail.
That's crazy.
Because the AI facial recognition got it wrong. And I'm sure she too was like, oh, I have nothing to hide, right? But that didn't work in front of the judge. There was also a father that got jailed for 3 months and was exonerated after because the AI facial recognition got it wrong again and said that he had committed a crime when he was at work and he had a solid alibi. And I'm sure that he also didn't have anything to hide, but that didn't work in front of the judge either.
This is basically quietly or ignorantly or unknowingly ceding over power from the people to artificial intelligence. This is the actual intelligence in us human beings giving over more and more control day by day to artificial intelligence to make the decisions that we should be able to make. Whether or not police officers even realize it, sooner or later, more and more of these advancements will come for their jobs. There will be less policemen needed, so therefore the policemen can be out of a job. We're just slowly giving over autonomy and slowly giving over freedom to artificial intelligence and those who wield the power or the companies that manufacture and use this artificial intelligence. We're slowly giving them over power. We're like walking into the jail cell and slowly closing the door behind ourselves so that they could lock the door. That's how I see it.
Yeah. No, and they even, I know that there's a lot of, I know there's citizens also that are concerned because some of these Flock cameras have been installed directly in front of their house. So they're constantly being monitored without warnable searches.
Yeah.
And their guests are being monitored, right? I mean, it's all fun and games until you're the victim of wrongful AI recognition or a wrong number in the license plate, like this Ohio man. This Ohio man got pulled over, attacked by dogs, had serious injuries because he went to the hospital. Right after he went to the hospital, they put him to jail because the Flock camera license plate reader actually got the number 7 confused with the number 2. And so they later dismissed the charges. But you guys, this is insane. Like, this is insane, the stuff that's going on right now. There's already so many cases of abuse from government agencies. There's so many cases already about AI facial recognition getting it wrong. If they get your facial recognition incorrect because there's a 94% chance that it was you, you're going to be so upset.
And it's just better for us as humans to allow humans to be the ones that are making that decision.
Yeah.
And in most cases, like not even just police officers, but the advancement in AI and what it could be doing, like it's artificial and it's prone to make mistakes. It does not have ethics also wired into it or involved in it. We do, and so we can't be led by it. And that's another topic that the ethics of this has to be discussed more, because we could just rapidly run down the road into technological advancements, but not really interpret or chew on or understand the ethical implications.
Or the long-term consequences.
The effects. And I know the world is going a certain way, but like, hey, humans, have a little bit of pride in yourself, or let's trust one another to do the jobs correctly. Pretty soon it's going to be AI doing surgeries on people, and it's not going to have ethics, and it also is controlled by the creator of its
greedy corporations.
Yeah. It's being controlled, and you're quietly giving over all the power to them and submitting yourselves under this artificial thing. It's just, it baffles me, man.
Yeah.
And I know they talk a lot about expectation of privacy, right? And they always reference that
you're out in public, you have no privacy, but that's not true. You do have privacy when you're out in public, guys. Yeah. I'm sure that if someone was just taking a photo, right? I'm taking a selfie and you're in the background while we're eating, right? We're at a restaurant, we're eating, I take a selfie, and that one incident, you're like, oh, it passes, right? Because you're like, okay, I'm out in the public, right? But that's a one-time selfie shot that I'll get of you, right? No, we're talking about cameras that are being installed that are tracking every time that you pass by. This is a ongoing surveillance. It's not a one-time instant. And so I'm seeing some people kind of conflate the two differences, because they're major differences.
Yeah.
They're major different. Me, I'm probably going to delete that screenshot after I post it, if I post it, because us girls, we take like 50,000 photos, right? And maybe one gets posted, if it gets posted. But that's going to be something that I maybe just delete, right? As opposed to something that's being uploaded to the cloud where they say it's being stored for 30 days, but is that true? We're having a lot of data centers just pop up. Why are they popping up?
That 30-day number too, like that may just be like for certain users, how long certain users may have access to it, low-end users. But that does not mean that Flock does not have that information centralized and can begin to sell it to the next. It would be like me following you all day with a camera. Like, at some point it becomes harassment.
Oh yeah. And if a police officer was like stopping you every time, you would see that as harassment.
And then it's more than just me as an individual. Let's say I did follow you around for a bit and got some information. Like, that would be information that me as an individual has. But this is a centralized database of millions and hundreds of thousands of people, information, all being aggregated and centralized into one place.
Yeah.
That's no longer like privacy or anything like that. That is like power.
Yes.
That's power.
Yeah. You're being stalked.
Yeah.
You're being stalked. No matter what. Yeah.
100%.
But it's a very advanced technology that's being installed all over our city in Laredo.
And it's blurring the lines between probable cause. It's blurring the lines between in certain ethical areas. It's blurring the lines between innocent till proven guilty or guilty till proven innocent. It's blurring those lines, and it's creating a mindset for humans to depend on it more. So as the lines continue to get more and more blurred, we're just used to depending on it.
Yeah, like government agencies would need to have a probable cause to stop you, right? And search your vehicle, or just stop you in general. These Flock surveillance systems, no, they don't necessarily have to have any kind of, they say they need probable cause and that they have it, but I mean, just from the month of June to July, we saw 24,000 pages worth of searches. And that's Laredo. Imagine what's going on nationwide.
Now, I know when it comes to the concerns of privacy and no expectation of privacy, a lot of people like to refer to the USA versus Knott's court case, but there are other court cases involved. USA versus Caro, USA versus Jones. And these additional cases show that it's not just black and white, the expectation of privacy in public. These other cases show that data collection from a cell phone that regularly show location of a suspect or individual, that the modern technology is getting so good at collecting data that these things do require for a warrant in order to use them in court. So it's not just black and white. It's not already a decided concept that no expectation of privacy, therefore let the automated license plate readers and let the Flock Condor cameras capture you in public because it is what it is, no expectation of privacy. It's not that clear. These things are still being debated and negotiated and litigated consistently in the USA today. So it's more than just citing one case and saying, you see, this is our point. But there are other cases that show that location monitoring and gathering information from someone's cell phone as to where they have been requires a warrant. And so very easily this can fall under that same umbrella. So it's not as clear cut. And when it's not as clear cut, in my opinion, it's better to err on the side of privacy. So I would say that the Knott's case isn't set in stone as a standard for how these things should be treated. There's a ton of other cases and information out there. The ethics aren't solidified.
And please do your own research. Don't just take our word for it. Do your own research. Educate yourself on these topics because this is a pretty serious one.
Yeah, read some of the cases that we talked about. Do a little deeper of a dive so that you could be well informed yourself.
And what's scary is that when I see these cameras being positioned nationwide, right, I kind of start to compare it to China, where China implemented AI facial recognition cameras everywhere. And then they brought out a scoring system right after, right, to keep track of their citizens. And so you think, oh, that's not going to happen, right? We're the United States of America. We're not China. But this is literally being rolled out in front of your faces and plain sight. And look now. Now they have facial recognition. I mean, you jaywalk, you get a ticket, and that ticket gets sent to you, and then it gets automatically withdrawn from your account because they have access to your account. And so I know these systems seem foreign, and it seems like, no, not the United States of America, not us, because we're free. Don't be so naive, guys. Don't be so naive.
This is a clear example of something that, because it's so widespread, it supersedes the idea of a nation, a sovereign nation, because these things are technology that's being adopted by humans wholesale, because it's companies and the technocracy that's being adopted by humans wholesale. It begins to be this underlying fabric that's woven into humanity, and it is subjugating and taking control of certain countries that allow it to. China is a communist country, and they would allow for something like this. America is not yet a communist country, hopefully never, but it could easily become one by the allowance of these systems to roll out in place. And it's because humans are allowing the technology to reign over themselves, which will eventually mean that it's reigning over the leader of the country. It's reigning over the states. It's reigning over the nation. And it's pretty logical to think that it'll eventually be reigning over the world if you allow it. And so we've already seen the extremes of these things roll out in China. And I'm sure even more extreme it can get. But, basically the social credit scoring system dictates whether you can, travel. Mm-hmm. Whether you can, get a certain kind of job, whether you can dine in at restaurants, whether you can participate in society. And I believe that it's even led for certain groups there to be ostracized completely. Yeah, they're completely blacklisted because they're not participating the way that the government wants them to. And the government has this kinds of control over people because of the technology that was put in place that enforces control, and it increases the strength of the observer and decreases the rights and the strength of the observed. So, we've already seen that happen, and if that's something that you want to see roll down in America, man, I would second guess that. I would second guess, your ideology. I would second guess, what is underpinning your viewpoint, because, man, something is not right.
And right now is the time to speak up about this. Like in the future, you're going to look back and be like, man, I wish I would have just gone to the meeting, spoke out about it instead of going for that overpriced latte. The next city council meeting here in Laredo, Texas is going to be July 6th at 5:30 at the city hall. Make sure that you go, you sign up, and you fill up a public commenter card. They're going to allow you 3 minutes to speak on the issue. I would highly recommend to come in with your own speech, like type it down or bring it on your phone so that you know exactly what key points to elaborate on or what to say, because it can be a little intimidating standing up in front of your city officials and a whole bunch of people in the back, right, while you're being recorded. It can be a little intimidating, so I would highly recommend to just have like a little speech maybe, or you can just freely speak. So now is the time to take the stand. Now is the time to speak up about this issue. Let's give them an earful, because we didn't sign up for this.
If you're against these things, say it, speak your mind. Your voice matters. You can make changes. You can be a resistance to things that you disagree with. And this isn't just a minor thing, so speak your voice.
Yeah, we the people have power. Don't you ever forget that.
Amen. And on the next episode, we'll get back to our usual conversation, talking about how you can save money buying a house, how to wisely purchase real estate, how to prevent yourself from being scammed, and all that good real estate information. So until next time.
Bye.